if we ever sit down to think about industries, often large factories come into our minds. We often think of huge machines, a huge labor force, right? So we always think that industries mean something very, very huge. But let me tell you, industries can be of varied types, and we will learn about it. An industry can also be of a pizza. Yes, there are pizza industries that are not that large, and it may involve a small labor force and a small area of land to be worked out. So let's understand or learn about industries by classifying them under different categories. Right. So what do you see here? You see that industries are broadly classified on these four bases, right? On the very first factor, we see that industries can be classified on the basis of raw materials, on the basis of size, on the basis of products, and on the basis of ownership. So, how is it different with each category? Let's see. So first we learn about industries on the basis of size. So industries can be classified on the basis of their size. It can either be a large scale industry or a small scale industry. Under the small scale industry, we learn about a special type of small scale industry, and that is the cottage industry. So what do you see here? You see huge modern machines and a large working force working on these different automobiles. So these are so modern, it definitely must have required lots of money and a huge area of land, right? So what do we call these industries? These industries fall under the large scale industries. They produce goods on a very large scale, right? Therefore, what exactly is a large-scale industry? A large-scale industry is one which involves capital investment of more than 10 crores. Yes, that is a very huge figure, right? So huge capital investments are required to run a large-scale industry. Examples of large-scale industry could be automobile industry, as we just saw in the video, or aluminium industry, or rather an iron and steel industry. Other than that, it requires a huge labor force. So only having few people in the company or in the industry won't help to run the industry in an efficient or effective manner. So many people or a good amount of people are required to run the industry smoothly. So at every stage, a skilled or an unskilled labor is required to complete a particular task on the particular product being produced. It also requires raw materials in abundance. So industries like automobile industry, aluminium industry, or iron and steel industry, they cannot work with little or few amount of raw materials. They need huge bulky raw materials with which they could produce these goods. Lastly, large-scale industries usually require an uninterrupted power supply and a large area of land. So as you can see, they are run with the use of various modern huge machines. So these machines need electricity or mineral-based fuels to be run. Right? So uninterrupted power supply is required for a smooth running of these industries. Other than that, large area of land is also very ideal for these industries. Right. So what do you see here? You see a furniture making industry. You see that there are not as big modern machines as were there in an automobile industry in the very first video. We see that most of the work is done partially by machines and partially by man, so done manually. So these kind of industries that do not require a huge labor force or a huge capital investment fall under the small scale industry. This is an example of a furniture making industry. Therefore, a small scale industry requires a capital investment of 2 to 5 crores, right? So it is comparatively very less than a large scale industry that usually requires a capital investment of more than 10 crores, right? Other than that, as we just saw that in a large scale industry, the number of people working there were huge. While in a small scale industry, the workforce is small. So a small workforce also implies that the wages to be distributed to the workers is also less. Therefore, a capital investment of 2 to 5 crores is enough for a small scale industry. Small scale industries produce products like toys, leather items, ceramic goods, and these are generally sold in local markets, right? Lastly, these small scale industries like the rice mill or the oil mill plants or a furniture making industry, they generally operate on an average area of land. So as compared to the large scale industries, they usually require a medium or a small area of land and does not require a very large area of land. So this was all about a small scale industry. So what can you see here? Do you see a very huge area of land? No. Do you see modern machines? No. Or do you see a very large workforce? No. You see a man who cut the clay mud using his fingers and takes it to his nearby house and is using it to make pots. He also does that by using primitive tools and does not have any modern technologies or machines. So these kind of industries are also a special type of small scale industries. It could be named as cottage industries. So these cottage industries usually occur in rural or village areas, and they are to promote the cultural heritage of that particular region. These cottage industries provide employment to a rural population and needs to be protected by the government. Therefore, cottage industries that are a unique or special type of small scale industry requires a small investment, a very small investment, and is usually funded by the owner himself. Right. Other than that, it requires a very small workforce. We just saw a video where we saw that only a single man is running the entire process alone. He's cutting the clay mud, he's running the simple tool and making the pots. He's also shaping them using a wooden bat. So you saw that a very, very small workforce is required, right? So these workforce usually includes the family members or the society members. Other than that, cottage industries produce handloom cloth, pickle, jute baskets, pottery, puppets and cane furniture. So you see that each of them is very unique. Cottage industries are believed to be unique because all the products that is produced by these cottage industries have a varied and unique cultural background, right? They are all personalized and they have a very special cultural background. Just for example, this pottery as you saw in the video. So the skill of that man to make the pot is being passed over from one generation to another. So by this they are preserving their cultural heritage and each has a different uniqueness to each product, right? So you see these beautiful puppets. these beautiful pots, these handmade fans, and also these jute baskets. They all are so unique in themselves. Finally, these cottage industries operate with the help of locally available raw materials and simple tools. So as we just saw that the man was using clay mud. So the clay mud was probably drawn from a nearby river or lake. Other than that, simple tools, as you saw, was being used by that man alone. All the tools that he was using was manually run. So there was no new technology or advanced machines that he was using, right? So this was all about the cottage industries, and it is rather a very unique industry. So before moving on, could you help me answer this question? What kind of tools are used in a cottage industry? Right. So is it modern tools or simple tools or complex tools or expensive tools? So as we have just learned and discussed, cottage industries use simple tools. Right. So what do you see here? You see the Shilpa Mela 2021 Kolkata, West Bengal. Right. A mela or a fair is organized every year in Kolkata in the name of Shilpa Mela. This mela or fair is organized every year to celebrate the cottage industries, and you must visit these mela once in a lifetime. Right. So now that we have learnt about industries by classifying them on the basis of their size, that is large scale, small scale, and a special type of small scale industry, that is the cottage industry. So now let's understand industries, or have a further understanding of industries, by classifying them on the basis of products. Right? So industries could be understood on the basis of basic or capital goods or consumer goods. Right. So industries that produce things like iron and steel, heavy machinery, engineering goods, cement, etc. are called capital goods industry or basic industry. It simply means that these industries produce goods that could be used by other industries to make or manufacture other finished goods, right? So these industries basically provides with capital goods. An example of capital goods industry or basic industry is the metallurgical industry. How is that? So we know that the iron and steel industry, which is also a capital good industry, produces steel. This steel is used by other industries as raw materials, like the automobile industry. Similarly, the metallurgical industry does not focus on any one particular metal like steel or iron. Rather, it has a wide range of metals that it refines, fabricates, and makes them ready to be used as raw materials by other industries. Therefore, we could say that iron and steel industry is a metallurgical company that specializes on iron and steel alone. Right. So large scale industries are mostly classified as capital goods industry. Why so? Taking example of the automobile industry or the aluminium industry, we saw that they produce or provide capital goods that could be used by other industries for the manufacture of other goods. So large scale industries fall under basic or capital goods industry. But on the other hand, we have industries that produce things required for everyday life, and these are called consumer goods industry. So things that we use on a daily basis, like textile, like food products, like paper or cosmetics. So these that are used on a daily basis come from industries that fall under the category of consumer goods industry. So these are consumer run, which simply means that these industries are demand driven. We demand these products on a daily basis, and to meet our demand, these industries produce such products or goods. But large-scale industries don't fall under this category. Rather, small-scale industries fall under this category, as small-scale industries provide us with things that could be used on a daily basis. So if you remember, we talked about furniture making as a part of the small-scale industry. So as we know that furniture is all around us, and we see it every day. We rather use it every day. Therefore, it comes under the small scale industry. So small scale industries provide us with products that are used on a daily basis. Right. So today we learnt about industries. We learnt how industries could be classified under different categories and then could be studied individually. So first we learned that industries could be classified on the basis of their size. It could be a large scale industry with a huge labor force and a big amount of capital investment. Or it could be a small scale industry with comparatively smaller capital investment and a smaller workforce. We also learnt about a very unique type of small scale industry, and that is the cottage industry or a village industry. So this was all about industries on the basis of size. While on the other hand, we learnt about industries on the basis of products. So industries that provide us with capital goods that could be used as raw materials by other industries are basic or capital goods industry. On the other hand, we have consumer goods industry, which provides us with goods that is used on a daily basis, right? So this is what we learned today. In the next class, we'll be learning about industries by classifying them on the basis of ownership and raw materials. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.